Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 46 of Bucs UK TV. Adam and Phil are joining me today, along with a very special guest. He's deep undercover in the Deep South. It's Matt Grisham. Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're good, thank you. Thanks for joining us. We know the time difference. Boy, do we know the time difference doesn't make it work. We've just watched a game that kicked off at 20 past 1 a.m. over here. So, Matt, for anyone that didn't see you last year when you were on, tell us a bit about yourself.
I am Matt Grisham. They call me Grish. I run the Cush Couch Chronicles and the Moochie Mob. I'm actually, by trade, I work in disaster recovery and roofing. So I'm out here in New Orleans from the hurricane. I'm actually sweating right now like a Bucs fan probably was at Foxborough Sunday evening. Pretty hot out here.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us.
A pleasure. Thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it.
And you guys at home right now, I'm going to do it. You know I'm going to do it. You have to hit subscribe now. Please hit subscribe. Please give us the thumbs up on the video. Then more people will get to see our wonderful opinions about the world. We would be ever so grateful. So first of all, we will come on and we will discuss last week's game against the Patriots. So, Matt, let's start with you stateside, because from where we were looking, every headline was about this game. This game was the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
It sure was. And I feel very sad, both internally and externally, that I wasn't able to attend it, because that was one of those I definitely had kind of on my calendar to make sure I was there. But, you know, just with work and stuff, I was unable to. But it was from all the media attention, anyone that I know that's even a football fan of other teams, the hoopla, the hysteria, were all that of a Super Bowl. From what I heard from people that went, the energy in the building was likened to a Super Bowl. I mean, it was an overall spectacle, and the game lived up to its billing. I mean, a lot of people kind of thought we would just go in there and absolutely dominate them and beat them by 30, myself included. And hats off to that Patriot defense. They played inspired from the first to the last whistle.
Absolutely. And from a sweating t-shirt wearing guy in the Deep South to someone over in the Deep West, Adam in a hoodie. What's the heating going on?
It's a little chilly here today. It's about 7-8 degrees. It's been raining all day.
And it wasn't usually Buccaneer weather, because it was bucketing down, wasn't it? Did you think that had a big bearing?
It didn't help, did it? Didn't help Tom Brady on those shots, some of those short throws. But I don't know. I know we won, and of course I'm happy with the win. But I'd come away feeling like a disaster has happened. I don't know why. I've got a just strange feeling of dread that we'd won, and all the injuries we picked up along the way in the secondary. There's a lot of things to talk about.
Absolutely. And Phil, then let's start with you. We normally start with the offense, don't we? How offensive was our offense this week?
Well, there were some pluses and some minuses. I mean, we could go through them. I thought that Leonard Fournette had a great game, and Rojo scored the touchdown. So yeah, okay, we got a bit of a running game going at long last. So that was one big pluses. But I felt with no Gronk that the tight end, particularly Cameron Brate, should have stood up and be counted, because let's face it, Brady's one of his favourite targets are tight ends, and he didn't. You know, I mean, I noticed quite a lot. Howard was blocking on the line a fair bit. And but I just thought Brake could have done more. And as for the wide receivers, they dropped one or two balls. They caught some nice ones, particularly, I thought Godwin caught some nice ones. And then I thought Tyler Johnson dropped one that he really should have caught. So, we mentioned the secondaries and being injured. And I thought, well, we've lost Scotty Miller, we've lost Gronk. It was a chance for some of these other players to step up, and they didn't.
Brake had a few chances, didn't he? He had a few.
He caught one in the red zone, didn't he? Over the middle.
Yeah, but he dropped one or two that he should have caught, really.
I mean, Matt, obviously the hype was about, it was Brady versus Belichick, sort of the Jedi and the Padawan or whatever. I mean, but Phil mentioned about Gronk being out. I mean, let's be honest, Brady had a bit of a down day, didn't he?
I'm always the eternal optimist, so I've got different viewpoints than most, which I think is good for conversation purposes. I personally think that the rain affected both quarterbacks immensely. I can't really discredit Brady, and I was going to bring this up. I'm a very, very big analytics guy. I actually think if I was ever employed as a head coach, I would never punt very often. I'm a guy that'd be going for it on 4th downs inside my own 20. The stats say to. So leading into that, a lot of people lost sight of, here's a little stat from PFF I saw. So Brady threw 22 10-plus yard passes, so passes traveling over 10 yards in the air. 22 of them in total. That was the 5th most in a single game in his entire career, dating back to 2006. It really didn't seem like it, did it?
No.
But
So he's slinging it.
He came out to have a very high PFF grading, the 2nd highest of any quarterback this week. So even as bad as he looked to us, how great is it that we underappreciate his awesomeness, that analytically he played a football game. And then touching on kind of what Phil had mentioned as well in regards to Gronk is, I think a lot of people got to see Sunday night just how invaluable or how valuable he is to our team. You got to think that Robert Gronkowski's job each game is he is a dominant run blocker, the best to ever do it in the entire NFL to ever play football is Rob Gronkowski as a blocking tight end. And then his receiving prowess speaks for itself. So you got to think he's a guy that wears 2 hats every game and excels at an elite level at both, job responsibilities. On Sunday night, we had to implore 2 different men to do his single job. So you saw OJ doing nothing but sitting there blocking, and he did a good job of it. A lot of us want to see him catch the ball more, but that wasn't his job Sunday night. That's what they tasked Cam Brate to do. And I've said it and preached it forever, that Cam is a very Jekyll and Hyde player. He's never consistent to me. He makes some great plays some games and then just doesn't show up others. And I just really, like he said, I really wanted to see more out of Cam Sunday night, and I just was left unfulfilled.
You mentioned about OJ staying in and blocking, and maybe Adam, what was your take on the O-line? Because some plays Brady seemed to have forever, but there was no one open. And other plays, obviously, they got to him.
I actually think they did a fine job, but I think a lot of people, this is my thing. Up until last year, I've heaped the praises of my guy Shaq Barrett, and then also like a Levante David that we've got to see for a decade be an elite player that nobody knew his name. I think the entire world, because that wasn't just watched by the nation, that was the highest watched regular season football game in NFL history on Sunday night. And we got to all see what is Matthew Judon. He played for the Ravens, and he had a lot of guys like T. Sizzle. I think he was still there then. Just better players than him in front of him, so you didn't know his name. And when he went to New England as a free agent this offseason, I even said to people, too, that was one of the biggest free agent signings because he is just a freak of an athlete. They did a little excerpt during the game that showed him ballet dancing. That's become a big thing for a lot of edge defenders for their agility is to go do ballet. And I'm telling you, Matthew Judon is a problem, and he will dominate pass rushes against anyone he faces all year. And he took over that football game. Every single snap he was in Brady's face, and it didn't matter who we put out there to block him. I actually felt Donovan was anemic on Sunday night. He played terrible. But Matthew Judon also is a problem. It doesn't matter who's blocking him.
With our O-line, it's like almost one of them often has a down game when the rest of them do okay. So it's like some plays it's looking okay, and then there's always one the lesson down, and half the time it's Donovan Smith.
He's so night and day.
Yeah, the problem is, looking at the Bucs depth chart, every lineman position has a backup, but apart from Donovan Smith.
Yeah, I know.
So we are so dependent on him. But I mean, Adam, let's talk about the run game a bit, because I think obviously we're focused on the pass, and that's where we started off talking about the run game. And we talk about the O-line. That's right. Let's just go to Adam. As I like, coming through the line, Lenny and Rojo were trying to burst hard, and they seemed to juke when they need to juke, but the holes weren't there, were they?
Look, I've got a thing. I got the Bucs playbook right here. I don't know if you can see it, and it's got all the run.
Hold it up a bit. There we go.
And it's run up the gut, run up the gut, run up the gut, run to the side a bit, run up the gut. I tell you what, we need to get rid of this thing, and we need to sort something out. It's absolutely terrible. The run scheming. I just don't understand how can a run into the O-line or defenders even imagine you're going to get a yard from it.
And the problem is that's on first down.
On first down,
then you're looking at 2nd and 8 straight away, and your playbook's already restricted.
You got it smack on in one. I totally agree with that one. Absolutely, yeah. I think we had a successful run game because basically Rojo didn't drop it, which is also a big plus. But they were showing a bit of steel. But I agree with Adam. It's just no seems to be no creativity in the run shouting at all. You know?
We had 30 running attempts, so that's why we had quite good stats, because we attempted 30 runs. So it was 20 for Lenny, 6 for Rojo, 4 for Brady. So Brady's a scramble.
Credit, let's be honest, we didn't come away from the running game. I think in other games we've given up on the run, and with that rain, I think that was the difference maker, wasn't it, Phil?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, let's be quite honest. One of our most consistent players this season has been Pinion, hasn't it? The punter. I mean, first punt straight out. So
let's come on to talk about special teams. Then carry on, because Pinion had a bit of a mare, and then he redeemed himself, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But what Matt was talking about, though, the wind. That rain wasn't coming down; it was coming down sideways, and it was. He when he put it out, he thought, "Oh, wow, that's a bit uncharacteristic." Then you saw what the rain was doing, so you realise that it wasn't as easy. And Jaden Mickens, with his catching, he wasn't as consistent as he has been. But if the ball's swirling around in the air, it's going to be tricky, isn't it?
As far as special teams go, I'm to the point now where I've given up on Mickens. I watched a couple games. I was fortunate enough to go to Tampa and watch live this year. And obviously in the preseason, you see more of the young guys. I just don't understand what everyone else doesn't see that I see. And I know I'm just a fan, but I feel like I know a little bit more than a casual fan. That, I mean, Mr. Darden, what he has as far as juice and life in his legs, at the point, give the guy a shot to turn some kicks and punts. You can't do any worse than what Mickens is doing. Mickens never changing the field. He gets 5 or 6 yards of return. It's very boring. He runs out of bounds. I want to see more.
But we've missed out one person on special teams. We haven't talked about Suck Up. Adam, tell me about Suck Up.
I don't care that he's missed one. I just close my eyes now. I don't even need to watch the screen. I'm so happy with what he's bringing to us. Just happy.
I am too. The one he missed, not to point fingers, but that was the holder's fault. If you watch the play again, he got that ball down and straightened the laces out as the kick was making contact, or the foot was making contact with the football. I don't know if you guys have ever kicked the ball before, but you're never making a kick when he puts it down.
Laces out, yeah. And
is
it Pinion that holds? It's Pinion that holds, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And on that note, this is the funny thing I was trying to tell people I was watching the game with, or I was around that night, is and we'll get into this, maybe the meta game of the decision later, but when they went to kick that game, we'll call it leading field goal with a minute left, I kept telling everybody, I'm like, I just don't understand why there's so much of this hoopla of they're going to beat us. I mean, let's say he makes this kick. You're giving Tom a minute and 2 timeouts. I don't know if people realize this, but Suck Up is 9 of 9 in a Bucs uniform on game-winning kicks. I don't even have to watch anymore. I just know it's going in. The Cowboys, I was telling this guy in front of me we're going 20-0 all night. So they made that kick, and he turns around and he goes, "Hey, I got a question. How exactly does a team go 20-0 if they lost to the Cowboys in week 1? I looked at him. I go, "We got the GOAT and the best kicker in the game. Just watch." And he goes right down. And I told my buddy, he's like, "You going to make this kick?" I go, "I don't have to worry about it. It's already in. The game's already over. We won." And sure as hell, he knocks it right through. Yeah. So that's the shift we've had as Bucs fans from getting Tom Brady and a real kicker, is you no longer have to worry, is he going to throw that interception to break our backs and break our hearts?
And you mentioned about that decision to kick and how the Patriots did it towards the end of the game. And that brings us, I think, onto the defense and someone you've already mentioned, Matt, Levante. The one tweet I was proud of yesterday was he was the one that
he plays inspired football. I mean, that he is a guy that as a football coach, you just pray you can embody what he brings, spirit and tenacity into everybody that puts on your hat. It doesn't matter how good they are. If they have his heart, you've got a great football team.
Interestingly, and I was talking about this with you, Adam, wasn't I? He wasn't the leading tackler, was he?
No, he wasn't. A certain Mr. Richard Sherman was the leading tackler.
So, was that the Patriots picking on him, or was he just everywhere? Or
100%.
Yeah. They're not stupid.
He stood up to it, didn't he?
He's had 2 training sessions with us. They're not stupid. They're going to pick on him.
Cover man, break. What else do you need to know?
Look at this, though. The reason he led us in tackles, a lot of people lost sight of this. To say he played terribly would be actually an understatement. And I say that respectfully because the guy's been on the roster for 4 days and hasn't played football in a year. What do you expect? But he was targeted in pass coverage 9 times, gave up 9 catches for 100 yards, and committed a pass interference. He played epically bad. Epically bad.
Is only going to get better, hopefully, from there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of it. When you're at the bottom, you can only go up for Richard Sherman. And in the first game, I mean, he didn't give up that huge chunk play, which I loved. I mean, for instance, if you go look at the stats, Mac Jones threw his longest pass was 20 yards. Their longest play was thrown by a wide receiver on a trick play for 30 yards. That's what killed us against the Rams. We did a great job of limiting the big play.
Do you know something that's interesting about signing Sherman? I don't know what the cap room is, but if I'd have shifted that much cap money, I don't know if I'd have gone for Sherman, because
I think we only paid him $1 million, so it wasn't a whole lot. Yeah. We didn't. Luckily, we didn't pay him a lot. Yeah. I've been beating the drum on Twitter this week that if you go look at it, Stephon Gilmore minus Jalen Ramsey, he's I think the best cornerback in football. He's eligible to come back week 6. He's demanded a trade. They say that if you look at comp trades from previous years, he's basically going to be worth a second and a fourth. To me, our windows now, I mean, I think you ship a second and a fourth and get Stephon Gilmore, convert some players, bonuses to future years like we did on Ali and Mike's contract to free up the money. We only have to pay him, I think, $6 million for the rest of this season. And then you instantaneously fix a problem. Plus you have the depth of, once we get Murphy, Bunting, Davis, and Dean back, you then have Sherman and Gilmore. We no longer have an issue.
Joseph, I think you're looking at my notes here. I've written down here about Gilmore. Is it the camera?
No, great minds think alike.
Okay, so yeah, right. Because I think I agree with you. I think he's a phenomenal player. You know, and you've got a player back there. You can forget about all the rest of it. The rest of it, he'll drive the rest of it on like Brady does with our team. I'm a great believer in that. Yeah.
You're listening, Jason. There's some sense here. Come on, bring the man in. There you go.
I got another little theory. I think we should trade Rojo. If we're not going to use him, trade him. Try and get a Rojo and a pick for top corner up there.
Yeah, but
I can see trading Rojo as being LeGarrette Blunt 2.0, and it'll just go somewhere else.
100%. He's in my fantasy team, so exactly what I want.
He hasn't done anything for us, neither. Well, I guess LeGarrette did, but that's fine. One highlight I wanted to bring up, as far as if we're talking about defense and linebackers, I'm going to read a little excerpt from PFF again. I personally think Devin White is the second coming of Ray Lewis. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he stays healthy when it's all said and done. And we are absolutely blessed to have such an animal leading the middle of our defense as a Mike Backer. He gets pelted for his pass coverage grades. Last year, if you were to compare his stats just blank on a sheet to Fred Warner, who got the All-Pro nod over Devin White, it was laughable at best. Devin beat him in every category. And the whole knock was, he can't do anything in pass coverage. Here's what PFF said about his game. Devin White was an impact player against the pass with 4 pressures on 11 blitzes and only 2 first downs allowed on 8 targets in coverage. He also forced an incompletion and recorded 2 passing stops. Hats off to Devin White, and is evolving. He is evolving. Yeah. And once he can cover in the pass too, watch out, NFL.
You've got to remember, Devin is still young. Levante's got more than a decade on the clock, but Devin's still.
And I'm in his backyard right now in Louisiana.
Yeah, make sure you look after his horse.
No doubt. They love Devin White down here.
I'll tell you something else as well. I actually designed, with the help of Kieron, do the T-shirts for the club. I'm thinking of doing actually next a caricature of Vita Vea with one player under one arm and one under the other arm, because that guy. I mean, did you see the sack try-on I had on Mac Jones? Yep. He got 2 of them. He got 2 of them, and he dealt with 2 of them.
He pushed them straight back past Mac
It was
Jones,
amazing. Yeah, trying out to run and get him. It was most amazing things I've seen this season. I think he's phenomenal.
Someone on the forum was saying that I think it was Alex Howes was commenting about the when rotating Vea and Sue in and out and them not being on the field together on important downs. And Adam, maybe we'll get your opinion first, but Sue just doesn't seem to be rocking it this year.
Yeah, I know I don't know about not rocking it, but he's not showing up as you'd like him to show up. Do you know what I mean? As we're used to it from the postseason last year. I don't know. I don't understand why they are rotating them so much. Why Sue and Vea are out at the same time.
The
You know,
snap
you
counts seem to be much lower than last year, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And it shows up on the tape, on the game. They get a lot of chunk plays when those two are not pressing the pocket.
Yeah, it takes us 5 games to get warmed up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, you know,
That's right, yeah.
we're
Look at the
just getting
positive.
warmed up now, you know.
I
Yeah.
love that you said that. I've been trying to tell everybody that. It's not to bring up another team. I have a buddy that is a diehard Chiefs fan, and they're obviously not playing the best at 2-2. And I kept telling everyone, I'm like, if you watched us last year, we were bad in the first 8
Yeah.
weeks. We were not a good football team at all. I'm like, it's such a long season. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So, you know, there's things that if we're playing bad right now, they're not cause for concern. We got a long way to go, guys, before we get anywhere to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
We're still winning. We're still winning ugly. We're still
that's the fortunate
taking the
thing.
wins off.
On that note, one thing I wanted to bring up as far as not showing up, because I got in a little Twitter battle about this yesterday that I think the fan base should be cognizant of this fact. So somebody brought up a comment where they thought that Shaq Barrett got paid and now he's not playing well, and he got paid and stopped
yes.
playing, things like that. And I'm like, and then he brought up Joe Tryon. He goes, go look what Tryon did on Sunday. So this is a key factor I want to make sure you fans realize. You cannot judge a defensive edge rusher by the sack stat only. That's not what they're paid to do.
No.
Shaq gained that contract because of QB pressures. Your core job responsibility as an edge rusher is to knock the quarterback off of his spot and speed up his repetition. Hey, your job is to make him get rid of the ball before he wants to and before he can go through his progression. That's your core job responsibility. It's not to sack him and bring him to the ground. Of course, you want to do that, but it's not your job. So on that note, here's another excerpt. Edge rusher Shaq Barrett was ferocious in Todd Bowles' blitz packages. He ended up with 6 pressures and 3 other pass rush wins, while also forcing a couple incompletions in coverage. He had a sack. He forced a fumble. I don't care what the refs think about that. If that was against us, it's a fumble 10 out of 10 times. So another story for another day. But with Joe Tryon, here's the key factor, okay? A lot of people watched that game and said, oh, he's coming of age. He's the next Shaq. He played great. Here's the truth. Mr. Tryon didn't do much outside of his sacks, with 2 missed tackles and an 8.3% win rate. So he only beat his blocker on 8% of his pass rush snaps. That is terrible. He still has a long, long way to go to ever be Shaq. Now, I love what he brings to the team. He's an athletic freak. He will get there, but just don't always focus on the sack stat to judge a player's impact in the football game.
Right.
That's all I ask.
It
Totally
shows how
agree.
much we're missing JPP, doesn't it? Because actually, it's
100%.
complementary football. Because as soon as you can home in on one player, you know, it takes away the
unit. When they're all out there, and like you guys were saying, when we have Sue, Vea, JPP, and Shaq playing as a unit, they are unstoppable. They dominate football games. That's why the Kansas City Chiefs flew to Tampa last year and went home touchdownless. That team, they took over the football game, and that's what.
Well, Vea is a classic example of like, don't listen to the stats, because he didn't post a single stat in this game.
No, but
Yet he was a game wrecker.
You were. Is there a better guy like watching play football too on that defensive line? I mean, he just has fun. I love watching Vita too. Like you said, that play where he picks up 2 guys. I mean, and these are grown men that are large, and he ragdolled them. He made them look like they were little kids. He just went out there and I mean, Vita is that was
so what we've pulling all together what we've said so far. So we're going to trade Rojo. We're going to keep running up the gut, but it's okay because we're handing the ball to Vea.
We might as well.
Yeah.
The high school film dictates that Vea is the sneaky best running back roster.
Okay, so it's Magic One time. You're going to do your best David Blaine impressions. Phil, we'll start with you. You're Coach Bruce. You've got a week to fix it. Where are you going to wave your magic wand this week?
Oh, secondary. I just hope that Winfield comes back, can play with it, gets over this concussion, and
so it's a healing spell.
Healing spell over the secondary, because well, Matt, if you go in the game on Sunday, take your boots. You know what I mean?
I'm going.
You're playing. You could be playing, mate. You could be playing.
I hope so, man. I'll get out there and play in that corner. Hey, and on that note, a quick shout out to Ross Cockrell. I throw rocks at him all the time because I think he is just a liability in coverage until this week. Mr. Cockrell graded out as our 3rd highest defender with an 85 grade from PFF. He played phenomenal football all evening. So
yeah, he played well.
Ross, great game. But you're right. I might need to get out there Sunday.
Yeah.
And Matt, where are you going to wave your wand?
You know, I'm going to bring it back to the offense. am I crazy that we have this guy that we call one foe and we just don't involve him in the offense anymore? Or what happened? They threw him 5 balls. He caught 3 of them for 55 yards and dominated anybody they put on him. And then they just stopped throwing him the ball. So I'm waving my magic wand on, please pepper Chris Godwin. Get the man in the game. He is unstoppable. Please just involve him in the offense more.
And today, yeah, the yardage total is almost identical to Mike Evans, but yeah, he's still sliding under the radar a little bit.
3 catches for 55 yards on 5 targets. I mean, throw him the ball. And it was gut-wrenching to watch. No one's fault. It was a wet football, and it just is what it is. But AB, when he's out there, we're a whole different offense. Man, how he stretches the field. He beats everybody on every rep. I think he's the greatest route runner to ever play in football. And I mean, he just dominated his snaps every time they threw him the ball. And back-to-back plays, he had touctouchdowns and just missed them by this much. So I'm not too worried. We'll be okay.
My magic one's going to be Byron Leftwich, I'm afraid. I want to wibble into his so he doesn't look quite so far down the play calling sheet. There's no harm in getting a first down. I know it's no risk it, no biscuit. You can be aggressive without being long. It's possible to be aggressive and short.
Do you know, we sit here with 3-1, and we've just played the biggest banana skin game of the season. It was raining, it was blowing, and and the Patriots defense, I don't think I'll ever play like that again, ever. They were so up for it. I mean, the whole team was up for it. And we came away. It shows
how critical we are, but being 3-1, you're right. We're spoiled on how lucky we are.
Yeah, we're Super Bowl champions too. Okay,
go on, Adam. Give us your magic wand.
Well, my magic wand is the play calling on offense, specifically the run play calling. I know I bang on about it all the time, but it is that. Like, I just want to see something else. I don't want to. Tell me, if you predictable.
Okay, you are Byron. Obviously, the similarity is uncanny. Tell me what plays you're calling.
Well, I'm not calling a run up the gut on first down. I'm just not doing it. Yeah, it's just never happening in my offense. I'm never calling that play. And on the third and one, what's 3rd and 1? 3rd and 1's a running play. Why are we throwing on 3rd and 1? I just don't get it. I don't get. I know there's got to be a bit of trickery to try and throw them off the scent and everything, but just play the simple things. Simplify it.
Noted. Okay. Right. At which point then we'll want to hear what you had to say. So obviously give us your comments below if you want to say anything, but also we will hear from our members who also had their say on the night. Our first member view is from our good friend Pete Payne. I don't know how, I honestly laughed my ass off, but Lamau? I don't know, Lamau. BA just said, everyone wanted to make this about Brady and Belichick, but I didn't say Bill play a snap, which was a really good quote. It's
great quote.
It is. We're back into the McKay era of good quotes, I think. Paulie, we got away with that one, but I'll take it. Tonight's game started a run of 3 games in 11 days. It's true, there's the attrition we've got coming up. The health of our roster is a big concern now. Steve Moore, anyone play any DB? I think that shows. Well, Matt's got his sneakers, so his cleats, he'll be out. Don't worry.
Yep.
And then finally from Gary, we are 3-1, but the Bucs have looked sloppy so far this year. Perhaps it's the injuries, perhaps the Super Bowl hangover. But let's be honest, we would have all taken 3-1 after 4 games, wouldn't we? As long as the injuries don't get any worse and we start to get some players back, I think we can get back on track. And actually, when we did our preseason prediction, I think most of the club thought 3-1 at this point and tripped up against the Rams. So, we are what we thought we are. Okay, you asked for it. You got it. It's back. It's the wheel of names. Adam, I can see 3 names turning around. Tell me what this is about.
Well, the competition. So this week's competition, the winning guest wasn't actually guessed. The winning guest would have been 50 tackles and Richard Sherman as the number 1 tackler. So we've gone from the next level down. So 3 players had 5 tackles each. And these 3 people you see on the screen here all guessed 50 tackles with Winfield, Levante, and Devin White.
That's right.
So one of these
we've got Joe James, Ben Carter, and Stephen Mills in the mix for some great prizes on offer.
Good luck, gentlemen.
If you're watching this and you're a Bucs UK member, you have to enter the competitions. Every week there's prizes. So as Matt said, good luck, gentlemen. Let's see who's going home with the booty.
Carter, get in there.
Well done, Ben. You are a winner.
Congratulations, Ben.
Congratulations.
And luckily, you've got Phil on the call, so he'll put it in the post while we're still talking. Go and get your sticky tape, Phil.
On my way.
Cool. As ever, we say thank you to our friends at Bucs Report for helping us be part of their network and giving us good promotion. That's always good. And again, if you're in the UK and you're a Bucs fan, head over to bucsuk.org, click on join, and be one of the 500 members that are a part of the chat every day. Our forum this week went over 100,000 posts, so there's lots of chat to be had, and we want you to be part of it. So now we will come on to, as someone would say, we're on to the Dolphins. Yeah, we're on to Miami.
On to Miami.
This week, we've got an early game at last. My son's delighted. He can finally actually watch a game and not miss his bedtime. I promise you, I'm not going to try and mention any quarterback names. I'm talking about Jacoby Brissett, of course. Adam, what is your key to the game against the Dolphins?
Key to the game is going to have to be the way we scheme these Jacoby Brissett's short throws. That's what we need to do. We need to try and solve this riddle that we just cannot stop. With 32 in pass coverage out of 32 teams, it's just not good enough.
Phil, what's your big key to the game for this one?
Well, let's see if we can get 4 players out in the secondary. That'll be a good start. I honestly think that they're going to target our secondary, and I just think that we've got to really watch this. But I seriously think that this is our coming of age game for this season. I think we're going to hammer them.
Yes,
really
this is the turning point. I like that. Matt, do you agree? What's your key to the game?
These are one of those trap games everyone talks about. Yeah, I really, really hope we come understanding that everyone in the NFL is fast and everyone has a jersey on because they earned it, and they're all good athletes, and you can't overlook anybody, because key facts to me are the Dolphins average just 4 yards a play. They average 5.3 yards per pass attempt, which is the worst in the NFL. So maybe some relief to our worst secondary in the NFL. Those two things, something's got to give. And furthermore, they only average 13.8 points a game. We'll score 14 points in the first quarter, you'd like to think. So I'm with you guys. This should be one of those where we just come out and pound them. But I just hope it's not a trap game where you overlook it and look silly. It's an in-state rivalry game. And what one of your group members brought up, and that's something to be very, very appreciated, is we do have, the second now of 3 games in 11 days with the Eagles on a short week right after it on Thursday Night Football. And I just really hope that we don't overlook this opponent.
That's good. And let's say of the Dolphins roster, who is the opponent we must not overlook the most?
To me, this man would have won the Heisman Trophy last year. If he didn't get hurt, you guys wouldn't even put him on his name. Jalen Waddle is an absolute superstar waiting to happen. That man is explosive every time he touches the football. And against our, we'll call it, poorest secondary so far this year, he's the only thing on their offense that scares me, but it's a scare that should be appreciated. Jalen Waddle is an absolute problem.
I desperately wanted to have a touchdown celebration that's like the Waddle Wiggle or something.
I don't want to see him score a touchdown at all.
Me either.
Go on, Adam, then who are you more concerned with?
Well, we've got a history of not playing so good against backup quarterbacks, so we really got to disrupt Jacoby Brissett. We just got to pander him all night, keep on him, keep pushing him back, get him uncomfortable constantly, because we don't want him getting it to Waddle. They haven't got a running, Myles Gaskin. Who else is there running back? It's going to be all
Myles Gaskin, Malcolm Brown, and Salvon Ahmed.
Exactly. I rest my case. They're not going to beat us against our running defense. So it's going to be Jalen Waddle, and we just got to get Brissett off his mark.
It's interesting, but talking about, I'd say so. We really are focusing obviously on their offensive side of the ball. Their defense, to me, again, I don't follow them, closely, compared to the average.
Xavier
It's
Howard.
a bit of a no-name kind of defense, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're
well coached by the looks of it. They're all on the same page, but nothing should scare me on paper.
The one thing that bugs me, or that I worry, and I'm a worry wart, is notoriously and historically, every ex-Patriot defector, we could call it, has played very well against Tom Brady. Matt Patricia, when he coached for the Lions, they played an inspired game against him. And Mr. Brian Flores coaches the Miami Dolphins, and he came from there. And it subtly does worry me because just like, you saw Bill's game plan against Tom, that defense played inspired football, and they did play very well against him. Regardless of what his stats said, the score tells that story. And so that's the only thing that in a little way bugs me about their defensive possibilities and projections. All ex-Patriot coaches really do.
Vrabel as well.
Against Tom. Yeah,
like
you're right.
Vrabel
did too.
And Phil, who's your player to worry about?
Well, I watched the Dolphins this season, and I've got to agree with the other two. It's Jalen Waddle. I mean, I love to watch Alabama play football, and Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, when he was fit, were probably the best two pair of college wide receivers I've seen. They were just phenomenal, the pair of them.
Now, be honest, is that because you've got some Waddle memorabilia or some playing cards sort of knocking around somewhere?
No, I've always had a bit of I'm revealing them coming out at long. I've always been a bit of an Alabama fan, to be quite honest. So, I'm a bit biased with that,
Okay. All right. So let's flip over to the Bucs then and work out who's the player that it's going to hinge on. Let's come back to you then, Matt. So which Buck is going to be the Buccaneer that pivots this game for us?
I just keep waiting for the breakout, but I think Antonio Brown, minus week 1, him and Tom have this love affair, this affinity for one another, where they just constantly, he gets our highest target share. I want it to be Chris because I think he's our best wide receiver. We'll argue that fact later, but I just think that AB can take over football games. And the one thing that continually sits in my mind is when Brian Flores first took that job. People forget this, but Antonio Brown played one half of football in a Patriot jersey. He had 9 catches, I think 140 yards and 2 touchdowns in that half, and it was against the Miami Dolphins.
Do you think AB's becoming a little bit one-dimensional though? Because actually, it's the hooks, these outside shoulders. It's not just all about running 9s, is it?
No, he's definitely not. That's what I've said. He's capable of running the entire route tree, including combo routes, and I think he's the best route runner to ever play football. So no, I don't think he's one-dimensional at all. But you're right. I think that what they're calling as far as for him to run, they should open it up more. Especially the one that killed me was if you watch the out and ups, he's so good at them. I saw a play actually on Sunday in a different game, the Browns game, where Odell ran it against the Vikings. I think they were playing. And I mean, to say he could have walked in the end zone, but unfortunately, as Baker Mayfield is his quarterback and he underthrew him. But those are plays that run with AB. He also, he will torch anyone in the NFL on a combo route. He's just too jittery, too explosive, and too quick in and out of his cuts.
I can't understand how we've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and AB on the same team at the same time, and not one of them can be schemed open. I can't understand it.
So which Bucs player are you going to think you're gonna go in full in for?
Well, it's AB again. I know Matt just said AB, but for me it is AB. He's so critical. Or actually, I'm going to change it to Chris Godwin because I think
I love Chris.
Yeah, Chris. It could be anyone. I could have picked Mike, Chris, AB.
Well, based on what Matt said, if you're listening again, Byron, stick Chris Godwin out wide and put AB in the slot.
Thank you.
Then you'll come by
try something crazy.
Matt, could you tell him that on Sunday, seeing as you'll be playing?
I'm gonna do that. You got
mention it to him, will you please?
And Adam will fax you the run playbook. It's the run playbook we don't want.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, Phil, who's your Buccaneer to watch?
Well, it's funny Matt said about Richard Sherman, but I hope he's actually not left the facility this week. I hope he's actually looked at the playbook, gone to sleep in the facility and practiced, because we've actually talked about Jalen Waddle here. So if you can imagine that they're going to stick Jalen Waddle following Richard Sherman all over the pitch, we could have a few problems there. So I hope Richard Sherman's a bit more up to speed than he was last week, but fair play to him. He hasn't been there that long. You know.
I think Sherman's become the de facto leader of the secondary after 5 days of playing with us.
Well, he comes with a lot of baggage and a big reputation, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
you know,
Let's be honest. We just want him to be average. You
Oh,
know,
definitely.
we're not on the. We are a team defense. You know, we don't need a player to go out and try and win it. You know, on one of the Patriots touchdowns, that way they carried it over the line. Obviously, you know, I saw Winfield trying to go for the ball rather than tackle the man and push him out from the one.
Missed that tackle.
And it was a gamble. I get why he was gambling, because a turnover is better than a first and goal at the one. I get that, but it was like, you know, you don't have to win the game on each play. You know, just have confidence, and you know, good things will happen. So for me, I'm going for Donovan Smith, and this isn't as critical as it sounds.
No,
I know he's good, and I know he tries. The intensity on the line, they all, you know, this isn't. I'm not calling him out. I'm just saying that for me is going to be a focus, and we need him to bring his A game. And I think, you know, he's capable of doing it. So I say it's not a knock. I just think it's a point of focus for me.
That's the frustrating thing. We know he can do it.
Yeah.
So just please do it on a consistent basis.
Now you've got to put your money where your mouth is, and you've got to give me a score. So Phil, we'll come to you first.
I think it'll be something like 42-21.
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
I'm convinced with Matt's right. We're warming up. We get better as this, you know, as the season goes, and I think this could be a big scoring game. I really do.
Okay, Matt's nodding. What numbers are you going to put on it then?
All right, I have to reference. I know how you guys feel about him, but he's our American hero, Ted Lasso, and I think we're going to win 31-0.
Oh, I like that even
shutout.
better. Oh, yeah.
There's only been one so far this year, isn't there? I think
You're going to blank them 31-0.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I can't remember the last time the Bucs had a shutout. That would be a real statement, wouldn't it? Especially when with the knocks on the D and the injuries, that would be really, really poignant. Adam, do you agree with that?
In the warm up, whatever you want to call it, the prediction, I had us to lose this game, but I can't pick us to lose. I'm never going to pick us to lose. 31-17 to the Bucs.
Oh, that's closer to Phil's score. Maybe it might rain a bit towards the end, or they bench Brady because it's going so well. And actually, the Dolphins points are mop up. We don't mind that, do we? Garbage time. Okay, right. Well, I'm going to be more on Matt's end of the spectrum. I think the Dolphins aren't going anywhere, but I'm still not convinced we're going to be racking up the points and throwing it willy-nilly. So I'm going to say something like, 17-6.
Oh,
Like it?
Oh,
I'll take it. It's a strange run, but I'll take it.
He said, "Oh."
And on that bombshell, no, that's right.
That was.
Is that 2 field goals, or is that a missed PAT?
No, I think there's field goals.
Field goals.
Nice. I think they might have a turnover, or
and don't break defense.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you agree with any of us, or if you disagree with all of us, again, let us know in the comments. Follow us on our social media and tell us exactly where we've gone wrong. At which point, though, we'll bring it to a close. Adam and Phil, thank you again as normal. And Matt, thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt.
It's been great
Thank
having
you guys for having me, as always. I appreciate it. You guys always show me, my family, nothing but love. We love you guys so much, and thank you for everything that you do over there. And I can't wait to come back and visit.
I mean, you named your
some
daughter.
Football there this week, I see too.
You named your daughter after our capital city. How can we not show you the love?
Yeah, London loves London. Thank y'all so much. Really appreciate it.
And also, we know the time difference, and we know how much you're away from your family doing really good things in downtown South in New Orleans. So a round of applause for that as well. That's really worthwhile.
Well
appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So we will see you next week, hopefully celebrating a Dolphins victory. Thank you, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.